Today gamers, we're going to be diving back into some more Remnant 2, and this time we're going to be taking a look at the mutators, the best ones that you can get in the game that can really make you have a powerful build and are perfect for putting on your weapons. That's coming up next. Now, if you played the original Remnant from the Ashes game, you'll know that the armour pieces in it made up a kind of set bonus. This is all changed for the sequel, and now instead we have mutators. Mutators are actually pretty amazing, as they can really change up your build, add certain effects to your weapons, or change up your playstyle in some way. Which is great, but what one should you be aiming for, and which ones are truly the best? The first lot we'll be going over will be perfect ones for your melee weapons. We've got 4 of these, and we're kicking it off with the overdrive. With this one, your melee critical hits increase melee critical chance and critical damage by 5% for 7 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. At level 10, you're also going to get your melee critical strikes dealing 20% additional damage. Now this is at base, and it can go up even higher when you upgrade it. I'll chuck them on the screen as well, but it's an amazing one to use whenever you want a bit of additional damage. Over to the next mutator, and this time we've got the Vampire Blade. This one's going to increase your melee damage by 10% while you're within 10 meters of a bleeding entity. Once it's maxed out at level 10, the hits versus bleeding targets will also lifesteal 3% of base damage dealt. This can work amazingly well once you start boosting it up, especially if you've got a pure kind of close range, hard hitting melee build going. This one can be an absolute game changer when paired with either another one of the mutators, or maybe a weapon such as the Merciless, or of course some of the swords that can pull off bleed as standard. Over to the Striker mutator, and this one's just a nice easy one. Your hits are going to increase your melee damage by 3% for 10 seconds and a maximum of 5 stacks. At level 10, it's going to increase movement speed by 2% per stack as well. If you just want flat, nice, easy damage increase, and you want to be a bit faster and mobile whilst you do it, then the Striker is an absolutely perfect mutator to put into your build. Lastly, for your close range mutators, we're going to have Transference. Your melee hits generate 5% ammo reserves for both firearms with a cooldown of 10 seconds. At level 10, when a firearm reserve is full, your strikes are going to generate 25% additional mod power for that weapon. This one is just amazing to put on pretty much any single one of your standard close range weapon types, as when you get those big hits in, you're going to replan a bit of your ammo, making your life just a whole bunch easier. A great one to chuck into any build, especially if you find yourself struggling for ammo at any time. Over to your ranged mutators, these are going to be the ones that you're chucking on your guns as standard, and the first one we're looking at, one of my favourites in the game, is going to be Twisting Wounds. Increases your range damage of this weapon by 10% at the start to bleeding targets. At level 10, this weapon's range weak spot and range critical hits apply bleeding, dealing 100 bleed damage over 10 seconds. Obviously all of these are at base level, but this one, giving you the chance to apply bleed, can really help you out, and the fact that it stops a bit of healing, especially at those later kind of apocalypse levels, can be an absolute godsend, so don't overlook this one at any cost. Over to another great one, and now we've got Supercharger. This one's going to increase your charge speed of bows and fusion rifles by 10%. At level 10, charged primary shots of bows and fusion rifles gain 15% critical chance. This one's the one you're going to want on anything you're going to be charging, especially if you've got something like a crescent moon bow. Faster firing, extra bit of crit, you just can't go wrong chucking it on your weapon. Next up, and one that I now absolutely love, and this is probably one of the most underused ones in the game, and that's going to be the Time Wave mutator. Mod use applies slow status on enemies within 7.5 meters for 3.5 seconds. Remember, this goes up as you start upgrading it, but at level 10 it also increases the range damage by 15% to any enemies afflicted with slow status. Trust me, chuck this on something like your Enigma, you can't go wrong. You've got quite a few mod charges on that, and it means you can slow everything around you, including the bosses in most instances, making your life very easy, especially if you pair it with something that generates a lot of mod power. Jumping over to probably the highest damage, hardest hitting mutator, and that's going to be Momentum. When this weapon scores critical hits, it increases critical chance and critical damage by 1.5% for 3 seconds. Its maximum is 10 stacks, and at level 10, critical hits from this are going to add 2 stacks and increased your duration by 2 seconds. Once this is maxed out, you'll be able to get 30% extra critical damage and 30% crit chance. It's absolutely massive, and if you're trying to get a lot of easy range damage, especially if you're going for that crit build, this is probably going to be the mutator of choice for you. Over to another amazing mutator, and this is going to be the go-to if you struggle with ammo and you want to get lots of reserves, you want to be able to shoot away and not worry about anything, then Bandit's going to be the one you're after. On hit, grants a 10% chance to return spent ammo directly into the magazine of this weapon. Once it's at level 10, when ammo is returned to this weapon, it gains 10% increased fire rate for 3 seconds, and its duration can increase all the way up to 10 seconds. This one is just a great one to spray and pray, and if you're all about making sure you've got constant ammo, this is going to be the one for you. Last but definitely not least, and now we've got Harmonizer. This one is going to be slightly different to the rest, because this one's going to be all about trying to take advantage of your mod damage. This one as standard is going to increase your mod damage by 10%, and at level 10 is going to generate 25% additional mod power for your stowed weapon. This can be absolutely amazing in the right build, because it means you get a bit of extra mod damage as well as being able to use them more often. Definitely one to look out for if you're trying to go after that mod power build and you're trying to get most of your damage through those. But yeah, there's quite a few to go over. I've probably missed off 1 or 2 that could definitely go in the list, but let me know in the comments if there's any that you really enjoy using. As always, for all things gaming, take care. I'll see you on the next day.